Good morning, everyone. Thank you for everyone that's here. I feel really blessed and thankful to be able to do this. I was sick for the last couple of days and I wasn't sure if I was actually going to be able to stream. Let me just make sure I can hear myself. Yep, so we're good there. Yeah, just very thankful and blessed that I can do this and I get to do this and I actually enjoy doing it. So we're going to kind of get into the charts today, and just let me know also as well as if the music gets a little bit too loud or anything, just let me know. But we're going to kind of get into today. So I had mentioned in the video that I took this weekend, or that I made this weekend, and was just looking at, I think that we could have potentially made a turn in the market. This may have been a significant high with not being able to take this out. I do think that we could potentially be seeing lower prices. That's what I'll be looking for potentially for this week. I'm not necessarily doing anything today. We just had a large range day the previous day, which would have been Friday, so I'm not necessarily insanely interested in today. So it's gonna be a tape reading session. I do also see that we had this gap here, which we traded below and closed below. So I'm looking at it as looking at it as an inverse fair value gap on the daily time frame. We also have this volume imbalance here, which is noted down here in the red. That's what that is. So we're looking to see kind of what response and what action or what we'll be getting there. So potentially, I mean, for me, I'm really conflicted in terms of which direction. I'm leaning more lower than higher, but like to me, we're kind of in a place of confusion. That's kind of how I would describe it. Like for me, it's not really clear for me, even though I'm still looking for lower. I would look for lower prices, but this is just because we have this volume imbalance and we have another volume imbalance here. Let me just make it a little bit larger. We have this red volume imbalance and then we have this black volume imbalance. So since there's two of them, for me, I kind of feel like we're in like a rough place. I am looking for lower prices, but I'm just kind of giving you my explanation. Now, there's really no clear SMT in terms of something that we can see on this time frame. Now, obviously from the last time, I guess it's not here, but there was SMT here that we saw on Friday, and that could still be in play. My thought process is if we're actually going to go higher, this order block right here needs to hold price. I'm expecting it to get ran through and maybe we attack down here or maybe even down here, especially with the way all of these other ones look. That's what I believe is more favorable to happen. So I kind of noted this out where we have the daily volume imbalance. This needs to be fixed. The daily volume imbalance here, and so we had traded up. We had this 15-minute order block here. We extended out in time and we kind of responded from that in a, I'll say, a nice way. On the 5-minute chart, we have this fair value gap that was created here, right there. So that is a 5-minute. Look where look at that. That's kind of precision right there. Look where it stopped, right at the upper end of that. But let me note that out for us as well. I would have rather liked it to wait a little bit longer to do what it pretty much did right there, but it's all good. Not necessarily as heavily interested in today regardless of what happens. That's why you see no buttons up here. I won't be pressing anything, regardless if it's a good trade or maybe let's say this is the best day out of the entire week. Well, then that's just what happens, and you know, it is what it is. Not pressed to get into trades and stuff, but I am looking for lower prices. I think that we'll start tacking a little bit lower. I think, like I had explained a little bit earlier, that we have a higher time frame shift in the market. That's what I believe, but we'll kind of see. We also have a new, I think next week, I believe, is when the contract rolls over. I think the 9th. No, we have 2 weeks. until that. So yeah, we have 2 weeks until the contract rolls over. So we'll kind of see about that, but yeah, I'm thinking lower today to attack this. I'm trying to figure out what. It's been a long time since I've actually been looking for lower prices. We'll see if that ends up playing out today or doesn't. That's fine. We don't have a time element to wait for because we have a large gap opening. Like it's pretty large. Well, actually, let me make sure before I say that. So I actually have a premium gap opening. I know that's not the closing price, but about 100 handles. So, yeah, 100 handles or so. So, again, yeah, no time stop or anything that would stop us from taking a trade. So. Yeah, in order for this to go higher and to trust it, I said this one would have to hold. I'd rather see it fail. That's my personal opinion, but I'm just looking to see what we're gonna get on other time frames. See if everything isn't aligning. Same thing with ES, looking a little bit heavier because it's traded real deep inside of its gap. This also could be an immediate rebalance here, so I am watching that to see how deep we trade up into this and what do we create over top of this. I think that's also important. How was everyone's weekend? I was sick. It was not fun. So again, look like we got an immediate rebalance here. I'm not gonna have too much on the chart. I'm just gonna have this on the 15-minute chart just so we can know. That was the IR, and then we're going to place it just on the 15-minute chart. So you have the immediate rebalance. Notice where also this occurs inside the wick. This is a breaker in itself here. So this gap actually overlapped with the 5-minute chart. So that is that's nice to see that, but the breaker is here, high, low, higher high, we break and rip below. Also see how we respect this slower portion with the bodies closing down here, and also how we fail to reach the consequent encroachment of this wick, which shows weakness. So yeah, my mind is telling me that we're going to be going down here and potentially can target down here. So for sure a target for these short term. So I have my short term. I put that with X's. That's where I show that. That's my short-term liquidity, where I'd be targeting, what I'd be looking for. But yeah, we hit this daily volume imbalance that we met up with a 15-minute order block responded to that. We had an immediate rebalance on the 15-minute chart. Also tapping into that, so like that's where my eyes would be. We also now have this gap here, so that gap would be of importance. But again, this is all happening before, so I'm not necessarily heavily interested into it. I'm just kind of speaking about what I'm seeing and what I'm looking at right now. For me, I don't see this gap right here as a reclaimed fair value gap. I see that as a inverse. So I believe that if we can get below it, I'm seeing as that. I don't see us as we traded through it. I don't know if the body traded through it a little bit and then came back up here. I'm thinking that we're gonna start trading a little bit lower, softer. We also have this 5-minute order block. So for me, if this was like a day that I was heavily interested in, if this was after 9 o'clock and we left this gap open, sorry, let me rephrase that. There's a 5-minute order block here. I like this gap in terms of an entry, but we are before 9 o'clock. First of all, this isn't enough range for me to take a trade. This is 31 handles, so that's not enough range for me to take it, even though I ultimately believe it can come down here. I like it when it offers enough before I get there. Those are like my higher probability trades. So I like this gap, and why do I like this gap is because it overlaps with this 5-minute bearish order block. It's just that it's the time elements, and I'm not necessarily interested in taking a trade today. That's what I'm looking at. Now we do have SMT currently between ES and NQ at the lows, because ES took out its low and NQ has yet to do that. So based off where this kind of traded to, like again, if this was the right time element, I'd be in this trade now, because I would trust this as a bearish order block based off what we saw, and then the targeting would be down to here. That's what I would be looking for. So based off what we traded off of and all the other things, that's what my thought process would be, because look at where the body closed outside of this gap. So I would like that entry. Like even if I'm entering down here, I like how we traded up to it, couldn't close it in completely, but where the bodies are, I like that. We have ES looking heavy. Dow's also looking heavy. So I think that this should follow in suit. What I think we could see is the 8:30, the 9:30 open. Give us or can happen beforehand. So I think that we should shoot down there. That's my thought process. But yeah, we'll see what we get. So the only SMT that we have now, let me just show you, is here. So you have this below this low and this failure to go below that low. That's the only clear SMT that we have right here. Now we do have equal highs here and failure to get up there, but that's the only SMT that we see here. These are all equal. The only thing that is not equal are these lows. So again, I think the tide has turned. I could be wrong, but I think like we made it a really big significant high above, and I think we'll probably come to that a little bit later. That's my thought process, but you know, we'll see how this week goes. We had a large range day on Friday, so not very heavily interested in today. Plus we have no news, so there's no reason I should be in the market trading for my personal model. I think if we haven't hit this before 9:30, I think the 9:30 news will draw us down here. That's my thought process. I believe that the 9:30 news will draw us down here. Do we have enough strength to get down here? I don't know, maybe. We'll see. That I don't know. And the one thing that has been so much better, that has made me trade, has made trading a lot easier, is to admit when I just don't know. When I don't know, I don't know. And I just allow it to either show itself to me so I can understand and know, or if I just really don't know, I just don't know. And I'll just wait. And when it's not clear, I don't do anything. But I'm expecting that low to get taken, because ES is looking very heavy. I don't think that's a stop run, so this should definitely trade down there. After we had hit this 15-minute order block, I talked about the immediate rebalance there, so that was the target for me. Just looking at it, nice trade. Obviously nothing I would ever be in because of my trade at or after 9:30, so we have that. I am going to take a picture of that because I did walk through that. Today's a tape reading session. That's okay, but you know, that was something that I was able to see beforehand. That's how I utilize the tape reading sessions. If I can see what's going to happen beforehand, where I believe it can trade to. And that was a setup that we framed from here using this order block here on the 5-minute chart. After seeing the respect up here, I said if it traded up into this gap here, I would like to see it use this gap to trade down there, and that's what we got. So pretty nice, pretty fun. Now at this point, I'm very interested to see what happens, because again, let's go on to the, not this chart, let's go on to the, and I kind of explained earlier on in the stream why I feel like we're in a place of a hard time of trading, or I guess I'll say high resistance. That's what I'm really expecting today, because we have a volume balance up here, a volume balance down here. We're respecting this gap, but also respecting this gap at the same time. We have no clear displacement, so other than like this day had moved down lower, we had a large range day. So for me, I'm not very heavily interested in trying to do anything today. But the SMT we had here, it's now gone, so that's not really a factor right now in price anymore. Again, I do think that we can potentially trade down to here, but we'll see what we get at the opening. Do we just scream higher, or you know, kind of what are we doing? I think this was a shallow run. We'll see if we get another deeper run down here. Again, ultimately, I think this sell side, I think that the new week opening gap, the current one, I think that's going to be the draw for today. Okay, so we got another run below, and we'll see what ends up happening here. Remember, I always have the first presented fair value gap for those who have watched my stream. Oops, I always do it in this yellow, just so that I know what it is, and also so you guys know too. But the yellow, that's the first presented fair value gap. I use that to help me identify, I guess I would say, how I expect the market to behave. So if I see it form a little bit later in the day, expecting a little bit more high resistance trading if it forms pretty early. And also, where does it form in terms of on the chart, and what does it look like? So those are things that are very, very important to me. So I'd like to see if we can kind of get down here, but the way that this went here and went down one more time, I don't know if this is the target, but that's what I would be expecting or anticipating, because we hit off a daily level here. Again, like I said, like we're also inside of this daily level, but I'm thinking that we're gonna we're gonna target the new week opening gap from this week. That would be my thought process, which is down here. So I'll put this purple. It's pretty much right over top of that. So that would be, let's just do new week opening gap high. So notice how that kind of overlaps with the sell side. So we'll see what we get here. I could be wrong. I'm okay with that. Okay, that's a nice movement away here. So on the, was it the 15-minute chart? So now we've took out this. We have run away with some explosive price action. So I think that the first percent of fair value gap is probably going to form at 931. That's it right there. As long as this doesn't just reject in 22 seconds. The first percent of fair value gap forms at 931, which is quick. So in my mind, what am I kind of expecting with it forming like that? I would say a little bit lower resistance in terms of potential price action, like where it would be going, what it would be looking for. But again, with all the factors I kind of explained to you today, I'm just not interested in trading a day like today. I'm not interested in that. There's too many factors for me against today that would make me believe that this is a high probability day. It's just too much there for me. So we traded back down into it. Personally, for me, I would not feel comfortable buying this. I would not. I think that the target is down here. That's just my personal thing, especially the way we traded up here and kind of rejected again. We hit the rejection block on this 15-minute chart. I would not see this as a buy right now. Just wouldn't. Again, look at this. Like this is kind of hard to read. I'm not gonna. This is not an easy day to be trading. I can just promise you that. I don't care what happens. I don't care if it goes down here. I don't care if it goes way up here. I'm letting you know that this is not an easy day at all, and that's why I'm not trading. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like, I believe that this is where we're going to trade down to. But, like, this is a lot of mumbo-jumbo mess right here. Now, if I was, what I'd be looking for is this. So I would look for something like this. If we can leave this, so I'll look for this as an institutional order flow entry drill here. And the trade, here's what my trade would look like. If I was actually interested, it looked like this. Just so you know, I'd put it right there, and I would be targeting down here. That's what it looked like. Just so you know. That's visually what my trade would look like. Let's just put it onto current interval and move it over, just so you can see that. That's what it would look like. It would have to trade back up into that gap. I couldn't just sell it right there. Because I believe we're going lower. I don't believe that it's going higher. You know, I wasn't tricked by it coming up there. I said that I didn't even think this was a good buy. Now, where it's at right now, I think if it came up here, I don't think I'd be as interested in this trade, if I'm being honest. But yeah, this is like the only thing that I could see in terms of a viable option for us, and it was lower. It wasn't necessarily looking higher. Sorry. I don't like when I have things that should only be on this chart on all the other charts. It's just very confusing for me as well. I'm sure it's confusing for you. So because of all this that we've done down here, I don't think that we would get this. My mind would now be like, okay, because we didn't get up here right away, we are down here. My mind looks at this gap right here that I was trying to enter on. My mind looks at it as a breakaway gap. So a gap that we won't trade to, which means that ideally I think that we'll probably trade down here first before this gap even gets closed to or gets traded to. So this would be in my mind, it would be considered a missed opportunity because I don't think we're going to trade up here before getting down there. So it would just be a missed opportunity, a missed trade, or whatever you want to classify it as. That's how I would look at that. So if we can get down there again, I'll take another screenshot. Maybe I need to like, it's just a lot going on here. Put that on the bottom. So we got close. I'm expecting us to run through this probably a little bit deeper. Now, do we close this entire gap? I don't think so. Okay, cool. So we got that. That was hit. Just take another picture here. So that was hit. Okay. So now, again, patience and waiting. I wouldn't have been filled anyways. And now what it did right here, I don't want to get, like, after doing this, I'm not taking that trade. I don't care if it even comes up here and then runs way deeper than that. For me, I would not be willing to take this trade now. I wouldn't take it. So for me, that goes off. This is just a first presented fair value gap. And I'd have to wait. I'd have to really, really wait. Just take that off. That's fine. But again, the trade would have never been taken for me because the amount of handles was like 30. I looked for 50, so it wouldn't have been a trade I would have taken anyways. But that was the framework of what I would have been looking for if the trade would have offered 50 handles or something like that. That's how I would have looked at it. So again, every single one of them took out its low. I think we do trade deeper into this new week opening gap. I don't think that that's the low. I think we do expand a little bit deeper, and we may end up trading 50 handles. Now, I'm never saying that like just because it's 30 handles here to there doesn't mean we can't dive deeper. My best trades and the ones I like the best are when the entry to the exit is 50 handles before we even reach a low or a high. When it's like that, those are like my better trades. Those are the ones I like the most. So yeah, maybe like, you know, eventually one day I'll grow into, okay, if this was to actually trade up in here and this is 30 handles, I'll trust that it can trade 50, you know? So those are just things that I'll look into. But yeah, I think that we should potentially be looking to close in some of this gap, but we'll see. It's Monday. I'm not expecting very clean price action today. I'm actually expecting back and forth action, price action. We just ran lower. I don't think we're just going to run lower again, especially on a Monday with no news. If we do just continuously run lower, I think it's going to be very like this, like a slow grind. And those are not days that I want to be in at all. I want to be when it moves quickly, moves fast, and I can move to the sidelines pretty much as fast as possible. Those are trades I want to be in. Yeah, we'll probably go to around 10, 10:15. Be looking to hop off. Not just gonna sit here all day and watch this, especially when I think it's a day that's not too fruitful for trading, but it is a good day to watch and to see how price reacts and how price moves. I think that this is, it's just important. It also helps me. It's also like training and seeing how price moves on different days. So it's not all just about like, you know, trying to focus on or trade only the best days. You have to know what these days look like, so you know when to avoid them, what they look like. How can you expect these things to happen or to occur? You know, those are the really big gems that, you know, my mentor ICT had talked about a lot, but I failed to listen to them earlier on in my trading career. So I got, you know, snared by them. By days like these where I would look for, oh, it's a breaker, high, low, high, buy it, and then just get ran through. But also I think with my understanding of, you know, how to find a daily bias, that came a lot easier for me now. What I'm looking for in my process. Like I almost, like something I did like when I first started the stream today was I was looking at like down here and I was like, oh, we're respecting this and we'll probably bounce. I'm like, I don't even believe that. So why am I even marking my charts up with buys when I don't even believe that that's going to happen? I actually think it's going to sell. So then I changed everything and put it back to what I was thinking beforehand. As you see, we're kind of sinking and going lower here. As we expected, I would just like to see if we can, I don't know if we'll close this gap in. Let's make sure we have the levels on here now, since it's a little bit more important. So we'll see if we can get to the middle of this. 25. And we will just change it to this. So we'll see if we can reach that. Contra encroachment of this gap. Let's see if we can kind of get down to there. And then maybe we'll see if we can get full closure. That I'm not as sure about. The sell side got hit. That's fine. We can just take that off. We were looking at that anyways. It's just too much going on. So, new week opening gap high. New week opening gap low. And a consequent encroachment of that, which is right there. So, these were areas we were looking at before the stream, or not before the stream, but like when I started the stream, those were areas I was looking for price to draw down to. Now what's interesting, we do have a 5-minute fair value gap, so let's see what we get there. Does this end up if price trades up into it, does it react and hold price? What I'd want to see though here is if we can do that. Notice how we have this order block right here on the 1-minute chart. I'd want to see us use this and trade lower. That's what I would expect. If I was looking for a trade, I would expect for us to trade up to this because there's an order block in here. I expect to see this and us to trade softer below this low. If we're truly bearish, that's what I would expect to see. I wouldn't want to see it get overran. So I'm trying to make sure it's just, there we go. So I'm not sure if we exactly hit it or not, but I don't want to see it. Like, if I'm expecting this to get hit, I don't want to see it run right through this and do too much, because I would expect this gap to hold price and for us to start to seek this low. This is fine. Hit the opening price. That's fine. I like that reaction. It needs to stay down there though. I don't want to see it start flipping to this lighter blue. Starts flipping to the lighter blue. This is probably less likely to occur to take one more stab below this low. I also am, you know, understanding of what we traded down into, a new week opening gap. But I believe we could maybe get one more stab below this low, and then maybe seek this up here. I don't know. We'll see. So I like that close there. Now this gap, I don't even want to say remain open, but I also don't want it to show any willingness to support price. Like if this can trade down to here, it needs to run through this whole entire thing with ease. That's what would need to happen. So we hit the low of the gap again. Notice where the bodies are closing to, outside of the 5-minute fair value gap. So the bodies even on the 1-minute chart are respecting. So I would like to see if we can attack this. Then the next candle or two, I'd want to see some type of expansion lower, like large. Because the way that is looking like right now, looking pretty bearish on the 5-minute chart too. So we'll see. Let's hear S&P looking softer. This I believe should trade a little bit lower. I want to see like large ranges, candles lower, not just like a little bit. So now we've traded down into this gap here. I don't want it to show any respect at all. It needs to just run through this. I like that response from here. Again, look at the bodies. They were telling the story. The wicks do the damage. Body tells the story. They're both closing outside of this. That's a nice close. I want to see if we can run one more time below this low. That's what I would be looking for, to see if we can get that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we hit that. Let's mark this. Hit that and see if we can get a full gap closure down there. I don't think that was 50 handles. That was close. It would have felt just short. That would have been 50 handles right there. If we get a full gap closure, we'll pretty much hit the 50. But as you see on the 5-minute chart, this is what I was looking at as well. Look how we have this high, low, high, breaker, fair value gap. That's an entry right there. On the 1-minute chart, it looks ugly. But you notice how I called out this order block here. I think we got the 50 there. But the order block here, why I like this, and you know, also how the bodies were being respected. And yeah, so again, not an easy day, but we were able to find some setups today. I'm gonna go till about 10 minutes and kind of see. I want to see if we can close this whole new week opening gap. That's what I want to see us do. We may not be able to do that, but That's what I'd want to see. But no, yeah, that would have been, that's a cool, it's a nice trade setup right there. From this order block here, trading down. And why? Because it's overlapping with this one. So I would want to, I'd want to see it stay there. I don't want to see it go up above that. We're looking for sales the whole day. To me, that just makes more sense. I wasn't looking for buys at all. So the only setup that we would have seen would have been in this one. Of the 5 minute, sell it once it hits this low. Would have had 5.75 handles of drawdown and made 50 handles right there. So I thought about trading today, but I ended up not doing it because we had a large range day the previous day. It's Monday, there's no news, it's okay. I'm not worried about missing this. They happen all the time. So full gap closure. So now we completely close in this gap. It's a nice trade. So yeah, from here down to there, offered way more than 50 handles, but that's a nice trade right there. We had the help with understanding that ES was weak, and we could have get, I guess, the x-ray view of what we could be looking for, because this was weak, this was also weak, so it was showing us a little bit more of giving us a clear direction, a clear indication of what we could be looking for. Remember how I said pretty much we had bounced off this daily volume imbalance? I said we were in a place of limbo, but we bounced off the daily volume imbalance, and how I was looking for us to trade lower. Now for me, why this trade up here, if it would have happened, would not have given me enough confidence, but why this one would have, because if I was looking for it to close in, looking for it to close in, I don't know why it's not working. It offered way more than to close in to 50 handles. So now 50 handles is there. So yes, you can say, oh well, that's after the fact, but I was looking for it to close in, see if we could get it to close in, and so it's gone like at least double that. Yeah, 118. So it was a nice day for tape reading, and we'll pretty much tomorrow I'll see what we end up getting. Yeah, 5 minute here. This set the stage. Oops, that set the stage. So M5. So once I see on the M5 what we have, I go down to the M1. What do I see there? An order block. So, and that's overlapping with a 5 minute breaker. There you go. One-sided. This will drop. So, because we had a large opening range, or we had a large open range gap, I don't have to wait till after 10 o'clock. So normally if it's less than like 40 handles or so, I have to wait till after this point. So at this point the move would have already happened. For me, I'm not interested in anything at this point after 10 o'clock. It's Monday. I don't really care. We'll see. Hopefully tomorrow we have a little bit more indication of what's going to happen, what's moving forward, and if not, then we just don't. Again, for me, if this was the best day to trade and we don't end up getting that the rest of the week, then that's fine. This is another tape reading experience for me, another day to add to the skill set, and we just kind of move on from there. I used to pray to be able to do things like this before I could trade, so I'm happy that I can even do them, regardless if I put a trade on or not. More than happy that I can do this. And something that was very interesting to me, I was kind of looking back at my charts and my journals, and I remember something that ICT had said about, doing this stuff for about 6 months before you do anything with either live money, or you should have 6 months of I think he might have said like profitability or whatever it is. This is really running, by the way. This is really running. Pretty much, I should do 6 months of this, and February would be the 6-month mark, which is crazy to me because there was no way I was gonna be able to do this. Like, I just remember like 6 months, that's a long time. There's no way I can do 6 months, and this is the 6-month mark, and so March would be 7 months, and it's like crazy. Like, for half a year I've been doing this already. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to point that out. We have about 4 minutes until I'm gonna close the stream. You know, there's nothing really else for me to do today. It actually ran and did a lot more than I thought it was gonna do today, just to be honest. But that happens sometimes in trading, and that is okay. So, also the reason why I've trusted this, I've seen this so many times, by the way, where it's overlapped, and then there's a 1 minute order block and a 5. Like, I've seen this a lot of times. That's why I was okay with outlining it and saying why I would want to see price hold there and see if we can attack below here and close it in, and that's fine for me. So yeah, I really enjoyed today's stream. It was fun. We're kind of melting right now. What are we trading to? See a lot of clustering of new day opening gaps below us. Our new week opening gaps, we're just kind of running through all of them. Again, I do think that we've made a longer term shift, in my opinion. I do think that we'll start seeking a little bit of sell side. But yeah, that's just my opinion based off of what I'm seeing in the markets. Seeing in the markets. Just want to look at something real quick. Yeah, so that's pretty much about it. There's like 2 minutes left. I don't know if we're gonna get anything crazy happening in about 2 minutes. So I am gonna end the stream a little bit. This is a nice run from there down to there. Really nice run. Really one-sided, not a lot of back and forth. See, this was all bleh, and then bam. So that's nice. See that we were able to be a part of that. We had this run, then we had this run, and then we saw this run. So again, I will say this is not an easy day. It may look very easy, but it's not. Yeah, I appreciate everyone that came out to support. I'll be on tomorrow at the same time at 9:10. I hope to see you guys all there. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.